लास्ट 2 रोज आगे की चेयर ऑक्यूपाई कर लो. Nice, please. लास्ट प्लीज आगे आ जाओ. आगे चेयर्स खाली. सेकंड रो. आगे चेयर्स खाली. आगे आ जाओ.
अरे उठो जल्दी, फास्ट चलो, आगे आ जाओ. कौन है पीछे? ये सब रोको, फुल करो. चलो आ जाओ, चलो पीछे. लास्ट, चलो आगे. यहाँ पे आ जाओ सामने. बैठ जाओ वहाँ पे. जाओ यहाँ पे बैठो. वहाँ पे बैठो तो वो आगे बेंच. वहाँ पे जाओ, वहाँ पे जाओ. यहाँ पे बैठो, यहाँ पे बैठो, यहाँ पे बैठो, यहाँ पे.
Mobile phones on silent, please. And the desk. Good morning, Dr. Mayura Sabne ma'am, Dr. Ujjwala Bindale ma'am, Dean and in charge principal, New Law College, Pune, Dr. Jyoti Dhar ma'am, vice principal, Dr. Vidya Dhere ma'am, RQAC in charge, all the esteemed faculty members present here and the new BBPs. It is with great pleasure that I welcome you all to this pivotal seminar on prevention of sexual harassment at the workplace, commonly known as POSH. This event signifies the finale of our induction program for the first year law students at Bharati Vidyapeeth, deemed to be University New Law College, Pune. Since its inception, our college has been at the forefront of delivering exceptional legal education. Our unwavering commitment to nurturing sharp legal minds and instilling strong ethical values has paved the way for our students to thrive in the dynamic field of law. The induction program is a vital step in this journey, assisting our new students in acclimating to the academic environment, grasping the significance of the legal profession, and laying a robust foundation for their future endeavors. Today, we have the distinct honor of hosting Dr. Mayura Sabni ma'am, a distinguished professional whose extensive expertise in legal content development, AML, data protection policies, and legal advisory services is truly commendable. Dr. Sabne's illustrious career stands as a testament to her unwavering dedication and exceptional proficiency in the legal arena. Currently, Dr. Sabne serves as the head of knowledge management at Legacy Services and is the co-founder of IAN Training and Placement Academy. With an impressive 13 years of experience, she has developed comprehensive legal content, meticulously drafted and reviewed policies, and conducted thorough contract reviews for clients both national and international. Her contributions to the field through research, publications, and corporate client trainings are significant and far-reaching. Dr. Savne's academic achievements are equally remarkable. She holds a PhD in Arts and Humanities from Pune University, an LLM with an outstanding grade of 8.5, and an LLB from the same esteemed institution. Her teaching experience includes prestigious positions as an assistant professor at Shankarao Chavan Law College, Pune, and Sri Navalmal Firodia Law College, Pune, where she imparted knowledge on various legal subjects and served as a faculty advisor for training and placement cells. Today's seminar zeroes in on the crucial topic of POSH. Sexual harassment in the workplace is a grievous issue that undermines the dignity and safety of individuals. The POSH Act aims to create a secure environment by preventing and addressing sexual harassment. Dr. Sabne, being a certified POXO trainer and a POSH enabler, brings invaluable insights and expertise to the subject. Her work in this field, coupled with a fervor for legal research and policy formulation, makes the perfect speaker for today's seminar. Before we commence, I would like to request Dr. Ujjwala Bindale ma'am to felicitate our guest. Please, ma'am. Now, without further ado, I would like to hand over the stage to Dr. Mayura Sabne ma'am. Let us all welcome her with a resounding round of applause. Thank you.
So is my voice audible? Pardon me, my throat is not good. I am suffering from viral from last week. But because of insistence of Jyoti ma'am, I have taken up this session. She has insisted me that we want to have you and enlighten our students about POSH. Okay, so as you are first year students, I know law is new to you. So before we begin with actually understanding what do you mean by POSH, we must understand that why we need a law. or how the law is born. So when we talk about the birth of a new law, there are some necessities or there are some factors which arise, and because of that, law comes into existence. So POSH also has this history. So when we talk about why having a POSH law, why we had it initially and how we had it, that is the background which we are going to understand first. So when we talk about birth of new law, as you can see on the screen, there are 3 to 4 factors which becomes responsible for the passage of new law. So first thing is about an initiative applicable to entire citizens. Like the parliament decides that let's have this law so that it will benefit the entire country. Like we are having taxation laws, we are having general laws like IPC, CRPC. So these are for the entire citizens of India. Second thing, India is a party to international convention. Like in this globalized world, India has been very active by ratifying various international treaties like CEDAW. It is talking about the protection of children, protection of women. So all the laws which you will see that are actually protecting women in India, they are the having the origin of these international convention and treaties. Second thing, when we talk about the origin of law, there is a recommendation which is given by a Supreme Court that this is the lacuna for which there is no law in the society. So make a law and Parliament takes up that as a matter for the law to be made. POSH law is the result of the same. Do you have any idea that which Supreme Court guidelines has given rise to the POSH law? Yes. So it is one of the sources that the guidelines which were given by the Supreme Court in the case of Visakhapatnam Union of India, that became the foundation for implementing the POSH law. Then there are other reasons also, like when the punishment is not sufficient to the crime. For example, Prevention of Money Laundering Act, or if you take the laws related to countering of terrorism. So these laws came into picture apart from general IPC or BNS, which is the new name. So they came into picture so that the special offenses will be given a special treatment and there will be special punishment for the same. So that was one of the objectives of bringing these special laws. And lastly, any new pattern of crime develops. Can you give me example of such law which was not there earlier and the new crime has developed?
Cybercrime.
Yes, which law is there?
The ITI.
ITI. In 2000, when we had the IT Act, before that we did not have any such kind of a concept कि cyber crimes होते हैं. And in 2008, the law was specifically amended to punish the cyber crimes. And now we have the Digital Data Protection Act of 2023. So this concept of data was not there when the laws were initially made, adopted in 1947. So this is the journey of law, and these are the various sources of law in Indian context. Now laws are categorized into different types. So there are central laws which are made by the Indian Parliament for whole nation. Then there are state laws like state specific. So they are implemented only within that particular state. Then there are special or welfareistic laws. So POSH law fits into this category because POSH law deals with only women, and that to be women working at a workplace. It is not applicable to men in general, but we are going to see how the applicability has changed with respect to colleges. Because you are a law student, you you are working as a student. So why I'm saying working? Because in the context of POSH law, you also have certain rights. So that we are going to see today on a specific context. Now, when we talk about POSH, the basic crux of POSH is sexual harassment. Like it is law against sexual harassment. That is the first objective of having that law. So when we see the legal landscape dealing with sexual harassment in India, then you will find that women, children, men and transgender, they have been given different rights under different laws. So they can fight the sexual harassment against them. So if you see with respect to women, there is a POSH Act. specifically safeguarding or protecting the woman at workplace. Then BNS, that is the new IPC. So in this new IPC, there are these sections which are talking specifically about sexual harassment. So they also protect the woman from sexual harassment. And when the sexual harassment is online, then there is a IT Act which protects the woman. When we talk about children, we have POXO, Prevention of Sexual Child Offences. Okay, so that POXO deals with any child, that is girl or boy below 18 years of age. So if the sexual harassment is there, then the crime will be recorded or offense will be recorded under POXO. For children, there is again cyber related IT Act. For men, what is the law? So if you see, when we talk about POSH is applicable to certain organizations, to certain institutions. But now you are in college. Do you have any idea that new law college or any college, it is affiliated to some regulating body like UGC, University Grants Commission. If you take admission into engineering college, it is affiliated to AICTE. Okay. Now these regulatory bodies, they have made their own regulations which are talking about sexual harassment which takes place into these educational institutions. So, under these regulations, the students, irrespective of gender, that is male, female, irrespective of that gender, they have been given the right to file a complaint against sexual harassment. So, when we talk about POSH Act of 2013, it is applicable to certain institutions, but for the educational institutions affiliated to UGC or AICTE, the regulations made by UGC and AICTE are applicable. And this is one of the major differences, that students, including male, they can file a complaint for sexual harassment, which is not available under the POSH Act. So this is the only law where sexual harassment can be challenged by men also. Then again, the child, if he is a boy under 18 years of age, he has a right under POXO and IT Act for cyber crimes. And transgenders, because that is now a recognized gender under law. So there is a Transgender Rights Protection Act of 2019. Under that, there is a sexual harassment against them, they can file a criminal complaint. And again, IT Act, because IT Act is gender neutral. Online sexual harassment, if it takes place against a man, woman, or a transgender, all have equal right to file a criminal complaint to the cyber cell. So these are the rights when we talk about sexual harassment. But if you see, as there is a special law for women, there is no exclusive special law for men. There is a special law for child also, there is a special law for transgender also. But it is always said that when I take trainings for POSH, people have the stereotype in their mind कि POSH सिर्फ women के लिए है. लेकिन being a student, you need to understand when you are studying in colleges which is affiliated to UGC or AICTE, even if you are a male or a boy, you have a right to file a complaint against sexual harassment. So it's not the law only for women. Now, before we proceed to POSH, these are the three unfortunate women which have changed the criminal justice landscape in India. So first, let's talk about Mathura rape case. As you are the first year students, I have specifically taken up this because you will be studying these cases when you will be studying IPC. So Mathura rape case, have you heard about it at any point of time? और YouTube पे कभी वीडियो देखा है? This is old 1970s का case है. So what happened into this case, that there was a girl called Mathura and she belonged to tribal community and she eloped with her boyfriend, which was against the customs of that tribal community. And when she eloped, the brothers of that girl filed a criminal complaint. FIR register कर दिया उन्होंने. And then the police caught her boyfriend also. And when the relatives came to take her up, the police said that no, we want to keep her into custody for certain period so that we can do the inquiry. And during that period of custody, she was raped. But unfortunately, she did not resist it, or she did not say anything which showed the resistance. So the question before the court was that whether she consented to it. Because when we talk about offense of rape, consent is the only thin line. If you consented, it is not rape. So that was the question herein. And in 1983, after lot of agitations, it was given by the Supreme Court that even if there is no resistance, it doesn't mean that she consented. If it is a rape, it is rape. When there is a medical injury which is there, it is a rape. So that was the one of the cases which led to criminal law amendment in 1983. You will find this amendment today also. I have posted a YouTube link here and you can watch it. I'm going to share these PPTs with you so you can have a point of reference. Then all of you know Nirbhaya case. I did not explain it because your generation knows it very well. In Nirbhaya case, there was a basic issue with respect to Juvenile Justice Act, and therefore in 2015 we got the whole reformation of Juvenile Justice Act, and there was a criminal law amendment that punishment was given to the rapist in 2013. And finally, Gauri Devi case. Do you know any kind of factual situation what happened into this Vishakha case or Gauri Devi case?
Hari Devi was a social worker who was working against the child marriage problem in the Rajasthan, and she went to a village to stop a child marriage. It was happening in a certain influential family, so they resisted. But after when she did not give up, the family members of that particular group and some other community members raped her. And when she went to the police station, the proper procedures were not followed.
Okay. Then why it is known as a Vishakha guidelines? Yes.
Because the case was filed by an NGO which was its name was Vishakha.
Yes. Do you have any idea that has the case which was filed by Gauri Devi been decided, disposed of? Any idea? We all know Vishakha guidelines. We all know Gauri Devi. There are many videos of her which are available on YouTube. But let me tell you the difference herein. The facts which the boy has stated, they are perfectly correct. And why she was raped? Because she was performing her duties to stop the child marriage. And it is very common to have child marriage in Rajasthan today also. We are talking of the age of 1990s. But still now, child marriage is very much prevalent in Rajasthan. We have a law against child marriage. And when she went to stop that child marriage, she was acting as an Anganwadi worker. So that was her work. So she was sexually harassed at her workplace, basically. She was gang raped for 5 continuous days by 5 people. And that was one of the criminal complaints which was filed by her. But Vishakha took up the matter that women are not safe at their workplace. And that was the basic issue into this PIL which was filed by Vishakha. So Vishakha versus Union of India is a PIL which was finally decided, and where we got the Vishakha guidelines, and based upon that we had the POSH law. But Gauri Devi case was a criminal case which is still pending in the Supreme Court. Out of those 5 persons who gang raped her, 3 have died. 1 and 2 are so old that they are on the verge of dying. So for these many years she is fighting for justice. So this is the reality which very few people know. We immediately relate Gauri Devi to Vishakha, but as a law student you need to differentiate between these two. In spite of having these Vishakha guidelines, in the year 1997, when we had the POSH Act, 2013. So imagine from 1997 till 2013, we did not have any law. Parliament took so many years to implement the law, frame the law. Implementation तो अभी भी नहीं है. So this is the state of law in India. Now, apart from these Vishakha guidelines, this is the legal basis of having the POSH Act. Like under Constitution of India, we have got the fundamental rights. Women should be treated equally. There is a freedom to live. If the women are going out for work, they should feel safe and secure. Then there is a freedom to choose the employment. If the woman faces sexual harassment, she will be threatened and she will not dare to choose the employment. उसको हमेशा लगा रहेगा no no, if I go there I'm gonna sexually harassed. So that kind of safe mentality, that is her fundamental right, and no discrimination based upon gender, caste, religion should be there. Now this is the legislative history, that how law has been passed. You must be knowing that there is a bill, then there is a discussion, the bill gets assent of president and it becomes a law. Now these are the salient features of POSH Act. POSH Act is a civil law. It is not a criminal law. It does not punish the perpetrator. मतलब जिसने offense किया है उसको punishment नहीं देता. There are different types of things which the person has to do. So what he has to do, that we will see in a time bit. Then it is a special law because it applies only in 3 circumstances. That is, if there is a sexual harassment, the sexual harassment is against a woman, and the sexual harassment which is done against a woman must be done at a workplace. So only when these 3 circumstances are combined and present at one point of time, then only POSH law will be applicable. Otherwise, there is no applicability of POSH law. Then, when we talk about the right of a woman to file a criminal action, apart from the POSH, she can file an FIR also under BNS, that is new IPC. Okay, so that is a different remedy which is available to her. So ऐसा नहीं होता कि पॉश लॉ के अंडर कंप्लेंट फाइल कर दी, दैट मींस शी कैन नॉट फाइल एफआईआर. She always has that remedy to go to police station and file an FIR against the offender. Then action can be taken against the malicious complaint. So this is the kind of protection which is given to men also. Like if the woman with the object of taking revenge has filed a false complaint, malicious complaint उसने file की हो, so she will also be punished, so that there is no chance that the law will be misused. So this is the protection which is given to men. Now what are the broad outlines of POSH? As you can see herein, it talks about sexual harassment, defines woman, workplace, working relationship and respondent, and apart from that it has given a mechanism कि अगर sexual harassment workplace पे हुआ तो what the organization or the employer shall do, that is a redressal mechanism. And ऐसा ना हो, मतलब this thing should not happen, so for that purpose there is a prohibition and redressal which is given under the law itself. Then objectives: first, it is the protection against sexual harassment of women at their working place. Second, to prevent and redress the complaints. So these are the 2 basic objectives with which the POSH Act has been passed. Now let's talk about the applicability. This is very important part to understand. Now you are going to be lawyers. So कोई भी law applicable करने से पहले you need to see whether that law applies or not. Because now I will tell you one thing. Suppose एक ने terrorist act किया, तो terrorist act के लिए कौन सा law applicable होगा, that you have to find first when you are fighting a case. So when the POSH law will apply, that you need to understand first. So this is the applicability clause. It applies to whole of India, including state of Jammu and Kashmir now. Then it applies to all establishment. Matlab, even in your house, in a sports ground, in college premises, outside college premises, when you are working as a student at a particular location where the woman is going for work. So everywhere it applies. There is no such concept जहाँ पे काम होता हो and woman is going for work, POSH Act comes into picture. Second thing, it applies irrespective of number and gender of employees. Suppose ऐसा हो कि एक एम्प्लॉयमेंट में ऑर्गेनाइजेशन में सारे मैन ही हो, there are no women, do you think posh law will apply? Yes, because there may be at some point of time a woman will come, or if they interact with a woman client, then that woman client has a protection because she is working, having a working relationship with that organization. That's why irrespective of gender of employees, it applies. अगर आपने कल चल के कोई कंपनी एस्टैब्लिश कर ली खुद की, and you are having employees, even if you are having one employee, you have to follow posh compliances if you establish office and doing all other things. So it applies irrespective of number of employees, gender of employees, industry. Even if कोई भी industry हो, education is also industry, it applies. So there is no exception to industry, place of operation, and legal status of the establishment. Legal status and place of operation specifically applies in foreign companies. Like बहुत सारे foreign companies आजकल कहते हैं कि we have registered office outside India, but if they are having any kind of office setup or they are delivering services in India and having employees which are Indian, posh law will apply. So they have to follow it as it is. Then this is the qualified applicability of posh. It is very important for the students to understand, because if unfortunately a boy or a girl, you are in a college right now, if this is your first year, unfortunately any of you faces sexual harassment, then to the colleges posh act does not apply. What applies? The regulations which are given by UGC. Now New Law College is affiliated to UGC. So there are regulations which are given by UGC which will apply to New Law College, and there are certain rights which are extra, which are given to the students to file a complaint against sexual harassment. So as I said that under the posh law, that is 2013 Act, men cannot file a complaint. But as a student who is a male, you can file a complaint till you are a student of this college. So college has to entertain the complaint of male students also if they face the sexual harassment within or outside the college premises if they are acting as a student. So this is the qualified applicability of POSH. I won't go into applicability of POXO because that is a whole different arena to be discussed. But as a student, just remember that if you want to find about your rights, redressal, you need to refer to these guidelines. These are the UGC guidelines with respect to the POSH. So please do read it. Awareness is always better. Then these are the differences between the regular POSH Act, which applies everywhere, and the UGC guidelines. So first difference, as I told you, that it applies to the higher education institutions affiliated to UGC. Second thing, POSH Act applies only to the women at workplace, but UGC regulations are gender neutral for students. Like for students, it is applicable to both men and women. But for employees, like your professors are there, teaching staff, non-teaching staff, it applies only to women. So this is known as a qualified applicability. Uniform applicability nahi hai. And third thing, when we talk about applicability of POSH, women under POSH Act of 2013 must show a working relationship. Now I will give you an example. Okay, suppose any of you is sitting in a library, a male also. Imagine the hypothetical situation. Someone comes near you and does any act which is sexual in nature and you do not like it. That person is not the student of the college, is not the employee of the college. He had just visited the college. He does not have any relationship with any authorities in the college nor with you. Can you file a complaint against such person under POSH regulations? What do you think? How many of you say yes? How come? There is no relationship. Whose workplace? Yes, for students it is a workplace, but for that person it is not, na? He is outsider, third party. No. Now I will tell you the difference herein. If the employee is not having any kind of a sexual harassment, sorry, any kind of a working relationship, that is work related relationship, she cannot file a complaint under POSH Act. But under the UGC regulations, students or the employees, even if they do not have any working relationship with the third party or outsider, they can file a complaint against sexual harassment. So that is the difference. So this is known as a third party harassment, which is not covered under the POSH Act. So this is another major difference. Now, in order to, because student is a very vulnerable community, you don't know immediately अगर ऐसा कुछ हुआ तो your life will be destroyed after some point of time, because you are new to this world and all those things are very at the nascent stage. So in order to protect you in a more better manner, these changes have been made.
क्या जैसे केसेस फाइल करते हैं थर्ड पार्टी का, क्या मेरा आइडेंटिटी कॉन्फिडेंशियल रखा जाएगा? क्या ये भी ऐसा प्रोविजन है?
I didn't get your identity.
आइडेंटिटी मैं कॉन्फिडेंशियल रखा जाएगा?
हाँ. Confidentiality is the basic crux of POSH. We are going to see that. Now, let's talk about sexual harassment. What does law say? What do you understand by sexual harassment? I want answer from you. I will give you example. एक लड़का एक लड़की है, जैसे आप सारे फ्रेंड्स हो, लड़के ने चलते चलते वो लड़की के कंधे पे हाथ रख दिया, कैंपस में घूम रहे, इज दिस अ सेक्सुअल हरासमेंट? ओके, ऐसा 3-4 दिन चल रहा है, एक दिन झगड़ा हुआ दोनों के बीच में, एंड नेक्स्ट वीक उसने हाथ हटा दिया गुस्से से. She is not liking it anymore. She is very uncomfortable. Does this amount to sexual harassment? But that उसके जो लड़का है वो तो फ्रेंड की नजर से ही देख रहा है. There is no intention कि sexually उसे टच करे. Okay. Any other opinion? Intention, consent, without permission, same like consent. अरे पहले तो पसंद करती थी ना, झगड़ा हुआ इसलिए ना कह रही है, फिर से पैचअप हो जाएगा तो फिर से हाँ कहेगी. Okay, this is a very general perspective, but let's understand what law says. Law says that any unwelcome sexually determined behavior, this is the crux of sexual harassment. Unwelcome and sexually determined. Not only unwelcome, उसे अच्छा नहीं लग रहा है, ठीक है, she is not liking it, unwelcome, but that boy does not have a sexual intention. When the sexual intention will be reflected? Can you give me another example? I would like girls to speak up. Yes, and girls are gifted with that particular, I will say, sixth sense. They can understand which touch is good and which touch is bad. So that kind of thing will reflect that it is sexually oriented. So unwelcome sexually determined behavior will be classified as a sexual harassment under POSH law. So what includes into that? There is a list: physical contact, advances, then a demand or request for sexual favors. This is usually happening with the employment. Then sexually colored remarks. Now I will give you example. You have to tell me which is a sexually colored remark. Okay. Girl enter करती है classroom में, and a boy says that, oh, you are looking so beautiful today. Okay? Another boy says that, kya hot lag rahi hai, which is sexually colored. So obviously, first you will take as a compliment, but second, it is immediately reflected and it is sexually colored. She can always file a complaint for it. There is no need to have a touch involved for sexual harassment under POSH law. So that is a advantage which is given to women. Showing pornography, very clear. Any other unwelcome physical, verbal or non-verbal. So non-verbal will also do. Then when we talk about the situations at workplace. Now tomorrow you are going to be lawyers, you will join some corporate, you will work as a professors, you will start practicing as lawyers. So when you are working, at that point of time, there are two types of sexual harassment which are covered under law. That is quid pro quo, and second is, we'll come back to this later. So quid pro quo means your manager asks you कि sexual favors दे दो, promotion दे देता हूँ. Sexual harassment. Then आप किसी के साथ बाहर घूम रही हो and उसकी चर्चा ऑफिस में चल रही है. उसकी वजह से you are unable to sit in the office. Hostile work environment. So these are the two types of circumstances which are covered under the POSH Act when you can file a complaint for sexual harassment. Now sexual harassment can be of all these types: physical, verbal, cyber, non-verbal. Physical, by default, touch is involved. I have mentioned few case laws also. Due to the paucity of time, I won't discuss it too much. I am again saying I will share the PPTs with you. You can go through them again. Verbal. आपने सैम मैनिक शो देखी है मूवी? अरे उसके लिए तो जोर से बोलो. Okay. तो उसमें if you have observed, Sam Manekshaw had the habit of calling everyone sweetly, right? Does it amount to sexually colored remark? उसमें एक वो रिपोर्टर का इंसिडेंट भी दिखाया है, how she gets excited कि वो Sam Manekshaw मुझे स्वीटी कह रहे हैं. If you remember it, does it amount to sexually colored remark? No, no sexual intention, no sexual color remark. That has also been held in this Calcutta High Court judgment, which is of recent 24th April 2024. So calling sweetie or baby may not always be sexual. So that will not amount to verbal sexual harassment. Non-verbal gesture. सिर्फ देख रहा है, there is a sexual harassment. Cyber. Obviously, cyber stalking is there, very common, sending lewd messages through any social media, just following on social media, and then giving sexual orientation through the social media messages. That is a cyber sexual harassment. And these are the different types of harassment which as a student you will also face. But you won't be able to file a complaint for these types of harassment under POSH law. They are types of harassment, but they do not have any sexually oriented intention. That's why they are not covered under the POSH law. Now we talked about it, quid pro quo and hostile work environment. This is one of the videos. Yes. The sound is. Yes.
क्यों आ रहे हो? आ जाओ यहाँ पे।
लाइक हाँ 10 साल की बेटी का बाप हूँ।
हाँ जी हाँ। वैसे ये होटल वाले बोल रहे थे कि इसकी हरी चटनी छुड़ गई है।
अरे बाबा तो बदतमीज। चलो रखो कैमरा में।
अरे सुनिए
अभिषु
जी सर.
अपने बालों को सर।
जी.
शर्मा
सिंह साहब कटिंग आ गई।
चाय कब मिलती जा रही है विष्णु?
अरे क्या सिंह साहब आप
देखेंगे बादाम की दूध पिलाते हैं।
सर तुम्हारे से
बीवी बच्चे घर पे सब काम में बदले दे रहे हो। पता तो आप ही ने दिया था भैया। हाँ तो यहाँ सूखे बैठे तुम तो और कुएं में डुबकी मार रहे हो। अपनी नौकरी तो लेके आ जाओ यहाँ पे। अरे हाँ 10 साल की बेटी का बाप हूँ।
हाँ जी हाँ। वैसे ये होटल वाले बोल रहे थे कि इसकी हरी चटनी छूट गई है।
अरे बाबू तो बदतमीज। चलो रखो काम में।
अरे सुनिए तो।
अभिषु
जी सर।
अपने बढ़ो कैसे
जी
शर्मा
हाँ सर।
अरे वो अग्रवाल कृष्ण का क्या हुआ?
सर मैंने कल आपको फाइल दी तो थी।
अच्छा तो देखो यही रखी होगी। हेलो
नहीं सर ठीक है। सर ये
क्या लगा के यूं बहन जा रही हो?
सर ये जो रिन्यूअल पेपर्स है इसमें दोनों पार्टनर्स के नाम हैं और नीचे सिग्नेचर्स भी हैं। ये सतीश अग्रवाल, ये सुधांशु। ये फॉरेस्ट डिपार्टमेंट का अप्रूवल और ये पोल्यूशन कंट्रोल बोर्ड के पेपर्स। सर प्रॉब्लम हो रही है कि सतीश अग्रवाल अभी साइन करने से मिल रहा है। क्या हुआ सर?
क्या
आप कुछ देख रहे हैं?
मतलब?
मेरे बुक्स देख रहे हैं? अरे तो देखिए ना अच्छे से। ये देखिए।
ए अरे बन कर
अरे देख सच में सर। वैसे भी आप आधे टाइम तो मुझे देखने के लिए बुलाते हैं, तो एक बार अच्छे से देख कर ये देखो।
तो पछताई तो
अरे सर सीरियसली। अच्छा मैं ये उतार दूं है ना?
जो
अरे तो देखने दीजिए ना। मेरे पास कुछ स्पेशल नहीं है, सेम ही होता है सबका। हाँ बस साइज थोड़ा ऊपर नीचे होता है बस। वैसे भाभी जी का क्या साइज होगा? 34 ना या 36? आपको तो पता ही होगा सर।
सॉरी प्लीज
नहीं माना मेरी स्किन थोड़ी मुलायम है, लेकिन मलाई थोड़ी ना है सर कि जब आपका मन चाहा आपने चम्मच डुबाया और चाट लिया। अरे शर्मा जी तो शर्मा गए। सर आपके डर से तो मैंने स्लीवलेस पहनना भी छोड़ दिया।
What do you understand by this video? This is the reality of workplace. That's why we have the law. Anyone?
That's your problem.
So this is one of the incidences which shows all types of sexual harassment. टच करता है, स्टेयर कर रहा है, स्टॉकिंग है, सोशल मीडिया पे उसके प्रोफाइल्स फॉलो कर रहा है, एंड एट वर्क प्लेस उसका बॉस है वो, and she is facing it for a very long period of time. That's why she spoke up. So for these kinds of incidences, posh law is there, and we have to be aware that as a lawyer or even as a common citizen of India, how we can voice it up, like she said it in her own ways. But this is not always working. उसे resign भी करना पड़ेगा. She will not be able to work at some other employment also क्योंकि वो उसका boss है. So these are the different consequences of facing sexual harassment at workplace, and that's why posh law came into existence. Now when we talk about posh,
ऐसा इंसिडेंट देखने को मिला था सुप्रीम कोर्ट में,
फिर क्या उसको सस्पेंशन, उसके लिए रेमेडी है.
तो मैं कुछ लाइनों के साथ सिस्टम उनके साथ चला गया.
It's not so. It's not so. We'll talk about that reality. Sit down. We'll talk about it. Then we talk about pillars of sexual harassment at workplace. Three things are there: woman, workplace, working relationship. 3 W's. Woman, who is a aggrieved woman? That terminology has been used. Now, when we talk about aggrieved woman, can a maid, kamwali bai, which is coming at your home, will become an aggrieved woman?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Then any person, wherever she is working, irrespective of her age or place of employment, she will be covered under the posh law. Then student, who will be considered as a student who can file a complaint. So there are 3 categories which are listed down herein. A person who is duly admitted, आपका admission अब हो गया, now you are enrolled as a first year student. But before enrollment, when you visited the college for the purpose of taking admission, and if you face the incident of sexual harassment, still you can file a complaint. So even if you are not enrolled, not taken the admission, you will consider as a student for the purpose of posh law. Okay? And if you go outside the college to represent college for a competition, and there you face a sexual harassment, you will be considered as a student and you can file a complaint. So these are the 3 different circumstances in which the students will get a right to file a complaint against sexual harassment. Workplace, any place including work from home. So when you are attending online lectures, I'm giving you example, and during online lectures, if some student does a mischievous behavior with a faculty, or there is a certain kind of incident that some female student is harassed by a male student in an online class, will it be covered under the posh law? Yes. So workplace is not confined only to 4 walls of this classroom. It will be everywhere where there is a kind of a working relationship in terms of a posh law, or when you are acting as a student under UGC regulations. So this is the list of workplace. If you see on the right side, campus, your whole campus, even the bank counter in the campus, or even if you go outside the college for trips, educational trips, study tours, or for competitions, it will be considered as a workplace. Work from home, that is just now we talked about it. Then working relationship, we have talked about it this earlier. So in the POSH Act 2013, like we saw in the video, there must be some kind of a working relationship. Honi chahiye. But under the UGC regulation, no need to have a working relationship. Even a third party harassment is covered under it. So if you see, where a sexual harassment occurs by an act or omission or by a third party or outsider who is not having any kind of a relationship with student or the organization where the student is situated or the employee is situated, the complaint can be filed. Can complaint be filed against transgender? Respondent is the person against whom the complaint is filed. Now, who can file a complaint? Women. Okay. And in case of student, both are male and male. Against whom you can file a complaint? All three genders. Same-sex sexual harassment is also covered under POSH. Sexual harassment by a transgender is also covered under POSH. So respondent can be anyone, not only male. It can be woman also, it can be a transgender also. So this is the beauty of the law. Now, when you have to file the complaint, you have to mention all these things, date, when it actually happened, name of the party, that किसने किया है, and time, कब हुआ. That also matters. Now let's run through the redressal committees. Now complaint कर रहे हैं हम. कहाँ complaint file करनी होती है? Any idea? Police, that is a different remedy.
The workplace where committee is formed for where the women can file a complaint related to sexual harassment.
Yes. So POSH law has own internal mechanism. There are two remedies if you face sexual harassment. First, you can file a complaint, not a FIR, complaint to the internal complaints committee, which is constituted by your organization or by your college. It is internal. Or if you don't want to go there, you can always register an FIR with the police station under the provisions of BNS. So these two remedies are available with you. Can you have both the remedies together? Yes, you can always have it. So when we talk about the redressal committees, these are the two redressal committees which are formed. First, the internal complaints committee or the internal committee, which is known after the amendment, that is formed at the organizational level, and there is a local committee which is formed by the district collector. So पूना के district के लिए एक local committee है. वहाँ कौन जाएगा? Who will go there? Internal committee के लिए तो obviously the employees, the students will go. But at the district complaints committee, unorganized sector, like just we gave the example काम वाली बाई, आपके घर पे तो internal complaint committee नहीं होगी, तो she will go to that collector वाला committee, that is known as a local committee. And this constitution of internal complaints committee is mandatory only for those organizations where there are 10 or more employees. So IC कहाँ पे होने वाली है? जहाँ 10 से ज्यादा employees हो. But जहाँ 10 से कम employees है, अगर वहाँ पे sexual harassment होता है, then you have to approach to the local complaints committee. And suppose employer ही खुद ही sexual harassment कर रहा है, then you can go to local committee. Because I will tell you the whole procedure in a gist. You can go through this composition and all those things later on. But how these things work out, okay? So when we talk about filing a complaint, if you face a sexual harassment, you have to write a complaint, okay? In that complaint, you have to mention what has exactly happened, when it has happened, and who has done it. You have to file this complaint with the internal committee. This internal committee will be having, in case of colleges, it will be having these many members. So there will be one chairperson, senior faculty, woman. And if it is involving students, then student representatives must also be there into this internal complaints committee. Once the committee gets up this kind of application, it will forward that particular thing टू द रिस्पोंडेंट जिसके अगेंस्ट कंप्लेंट फाइल किए उसको वो कॉपी भेजेगी। कॉपी भेजने के बाद रिस्पोंडेंट हैज टू रिप्लाई कि उसने किया है या नहीं किया है। Once the respondent replies, then the complainant has two options. Either she can go for settlement or there will be an inquiry. This is the local committee. This is the constitution of internal committee. There is an external member over this internal committee. Complaint. So this is how you have to file a complaint. And suppose the woman is not willing to file the complaint or due to physical incapacity she is unable to file the complaint. Other person can also file a complaint only under these four circumstances. That is, there is a mental incapacity, she has under trauma, so she is not able to file the complaint. The person who knows about the incident can always help her to file the complaint. That is also allowed. Now suppose you don't know where is the internal committee. Can you file a complaint online? Yes. So if you are afraid कि किसी को पता चलेगा मेरे साथ ऐसा हुआ है, तो you can always visit this website www.shebox.nic.in. Just I didn't get you. 3 months. Yes. So Shebox, that is an online complaint mechanism. If you click on this, this is the Ministry of Women and Child Development की ये website है. Click on it. See, there you will find two options. You have to choose it. Then employee, about this you have to mention all your details. ये सारे fill करने होते हैं आपको. And if once you submit the complaint therein, it will be forwarded to the organization where you are working or where you are student, or if there is no such kind of thing, to the local committee, and then they will take up the matter. So there is no need to fear कि किसी को पता चलेगा तो क्या होगा. The online option is always available and it runs very smoothly. The matters are taken up by the government on very regular basis. And suppose कोई illiterate woman है या फिर online आपको नहीं मिल रहा है, this is the NCW का helpline number. So you can always call upon this helpline number and register your complaint. This helpline number is not only for sexual harassment at workplace, it is for all other offenses against women also and child. So this is the another option which is available to you with respect to filing the complaint. Now, when we talk about the proceedings, कि matter कैसे चलता है, these are the parties to the proceedings. Now, what complainant can ask? Complainant, मगर जिसके साथ हुआ है वो first इंटीरियर मेजर्स कि जब तक मैटर खत्म नहीं होता तब तक उसका ट्रांसफर करवा दो या फिर मुझे छुट्टी दे दो. 3 months की लीव मिल सकती है. That is a paid leave that the employer has to give. Second thing, conciliation. I don't want to go with the inquiry. I want to conciliate the matter. आमने सामने बैठ के मीडिएशन करवा लो, लेकिन इस conciliation में she cannot take the compensation. Money नहीं ले सकती. There will be kind of apology which will be given by the respondent that she has to accept. There is no monetary settlement which is allowed. And another thing, right to file an appeal. IC ने decision दे दिया, but she is not happy. Then she can always file an appeal to the court. Respondent, जिसके अगेंस्ट कंप्लेंट हुई है, अगर उसको लगता है कि मुझे नहीं सेटलमेंट करनी उस वुमन के साथ, he can always refuse to have a settlement, and he also has a right to file an appeal. So these two are the important rights which are also given to the respondent. And as I said, option with the complainant, either conciliation करो नहीं तो inquiry के साथ जाओ. Once the conciliation is done, it is the final thing. She cannot challenge it later on. And conciliation होने के बाद the matter will be closed down there. So IC will say that okay, conciliation हुआ है, she is ready to accept the apology and there will be no punishment which will be given to the perpetrator. But if she says that I don't want to go ahead with the conciliation, then inquiry will be done. Now suppose if during sexual harassment there has been a physical injury, ऐसे matters पे conciliation नहीं होता, because that will be actually affecting her physical as well as mental health. That's why the conciliation is not preferred where the sexual harassment is short of rape. So that is not an option. But inquiry will be done if the parties refuse to have conciliation, or even after having the conciliation उन्होंने terms of settlement कर लिए और फिर से उसके साथ sexual harassment हुई, then at second time there will be no conciliation, direct पूरा proceedings चलेगा. Interior measures, we discussed about it. This is the timeline for inquiry. You can just go through the slides. And there are different types of meetings. First meeting में both have to come. Second meeting में conciliation होता है. Third meeting में conciliation होगा तो close down होगा, नहीं तो inquiry के लिए आगे जाएगा. And fourth meeting में hearing होगा. Hearing means all the evidence will be collected, witnesses will be called, arguments will be there, and then there will be the final inquiry report. Now under the POSH Act, it is mandatory to follow the principles of natural justice. What do you mean by principles of natural justice? Okay. Anything else? Bias नहीं होना चाहिए. All the members of IC committee must be unbiased. They should not have that prejudice कि इसने किया ही होगा या फिर woman is lying. So these things has to be followed at any cost. Then this is one of the important judgments which talks about principles of natural justice. Now when the proceedings end, inquiry खत्म हो गई, तो उसका end क्या होता है? There is an inquiry report. That inquiry report is made by that committee. And in that inquiry report, the committee has to state two things: findings, कि sexual harassment हुआ है या नहीं हुआ है, and based upon that, the committee will give recommendations to the employer to implement. मतलब committee को कोई right नहीं है उसे punish करने का. Who will punish that particular person? Employer, or in your case, the management. So the findings will be given, and these will be the outcomes of the inquiry. Means first there will be outcome कि sexual harassment नहीं हुआ है, case will close down. Sexual harassment हुआ है, तो what to be done? And if she does not proceed with that inquiry, she files an FIR, then the internal committee has to hand over all the report to the police, and then police will take this up further. Then these are the details of inquiry report. So what they have to mention it. Just now I gave you the brief of it, and finally the recommendations. What can be the recommendation? उसको क्या punishment हो सकती है? Punishment is not the right word, but for your understanding I am telling you. So first thing, he can be terminated, he can be suspended, and second thing, उसके salary में से कुछ amount deduct होगा, that will be given as a compensation to that particular lady. So while deciding the amount of compensation, these four factors will be considered. If she has suffered the injury, medical expenses देने पड़ेंगे. Now अगर पियून ने sexual harassment किया है, उसकी salary 10,000 है, तो compensation लेडी को 1,000 मिलेगा. लेकिन अगर CEO ने किया है, जिसकी salary 2 लाख है, तो compensation 50,000 मिलेगा. So based upon the financial status of that particular respondent, the amount of compensation is decided. Then all these things has to be done by management, that is the employer. These are the different actions which can be taken up by the management, that they will take up the recommendations from the IC committee and they will implement it. So even if they are paying the compensation, IC will not pay the compensation. It is the management which will deduct from the salary of the employee, and then it will go to that particular lady. Can you file an appeal? Yes, appeal is always there. Industrial court, labor court, that has a right to entertain the appeals against this posh law. From there, it goes to High Court. From High Court, it goes to Supreme Court. Malicious complaint. Initially, I said that if the woman is actually filing a false complaint, she will also be punished. And if the employer is not complying with the POSH, then that means he is not constituting the IC committee, he is not conducting regular trainings, he is not displaying the board with respect to the constitution of the committee, he will be fined maximum up to 50,000 rupees. And if he continues it, then it will be 1 lakh rupees. And in case of big corporates, there are fines up to crores, which has also been levied by the government, that is Ministry of Women and Child Development. This is a preventive measure where you can also work as a lawyer. Anti-sexual harassment policy. It is also known as a POSH policy. So every organization needs this policy. And these are the elements of these policy that what has to be mentioned into it. So as a student, find out what is the POSH policy of New Law College. It will be listed on your website. This is the recent landmark judgment by the Supreme Court. In 2023, it has been given. In this case, there was no follow-up of principles of natural justice, and Supreme Court found that there are no internal committees which are established even at the government organizations. So it has again issued the guidelines कि सारी committees form करो and implement the POSH laws. This is the amendment which is pending. There is a private bill in February 2024 which is filed by one of the members, and now it is asking कि ये जो option है conciliation का, that should be deleted. This is the proposed amendment into the law which we will see in next coming years may be implemented. Finally, why I am running through the law? Because law you can read, you can go through my slides. But let's talk about the implementation part. This is the implementation. These are the recent reports that even after having the law, now it has been 11 years, the law has been implemented, but sexual harassment cases are rising. So there is no way in which कि कम हो गए, बंद तो होंगे ही नहीं. We are all human beings, but there is no reduction also. And these are the states which has registered the higher number of cases, and Maharashtra is on 4th, as you can see. So these are the government records, National Crime Records Bureau के records है. So you can see how they have increased. What is the reason why there is an increase?
एक इसका एस्पेक्ट ये भी हो सकता है, इसका मिसयूज भी हो रहा है. अभी we are just stand right here, this point.
Okay.
तो ये एस्पेक्ट हो सकता है. But at the same time ये बेस कर रहे हो तो यूट्यूब ज्यादा आ रहे हैं, तो अपडेट हाइक कर रहे हैं. एक रीजन ऐसा है और लो है.
Okay. Any other reason you can think? So these are the reasons why sexual harassment is continuing. As a lawyer, as a law student, you must not only know law, सिर्फ law पता नहीं होना चाहिए, ये law implement हो रहा है या नहीं हो रहा है ये भी पता होना चाहिए. And if a client comes to you, you must be able to know कि वो crime क्यों हुआ, why the sexual harassment took place. Now we know that in India we have a mentality, patriarchy, so that power dominance is also there. So these are the different reasons which I could find out. These are not limited one. You can always add it to a.
The main reason is not fear.
No fear.
Harsh punishment.
Okay. That can be one of the reasons. Any other opinion? Okay.
Life very punishment for madness.
Okay. And Me Too movement. What was this Me Too movement? उसका हुआ क्या आगे लेकिन? Me Too movement was just a social movement which talked about the past incidences which has happened in their life. Okay, it was not having any kind of a legal background as such. So in global scenario, you will find that yes, the Universal Declaration is talking about it, United Nations is talking about it, International Labour Organization is talking about it, कि सबके right protect करो. लेकिन even after having a Me Too movement that was in 2019 and even after having a law that is in 2013, half of the countries in the world, they are not having any law dealing with sexual harassment. Law ही नहीं है उनके पास. They have not prohibited sexual harassment at all. 3/4 of the countries, they have talked about sexual harassment, but not prohibited it. So this is the reality. When we talk about having a law and implementing it, that is a very, very two different scenarios when we have to see it as a lawyer, being a law student. And finally, this is just as a guideline, but I want to tell you two things on this platform. First thing is, don't look at this law as a law against men. As I told you, as a man, as a student in this college, you can always speak out about the sexual harassment which is taking place against you. Second thing, being a law student, you have more responsibility towards society. Why the law is not being implemented? Awareness. कितने लोगों को पता था कि you have a right to file a complaint? Before knowing all these things, be honest. Did you know the procedure and everything? But now you know it, right? And you should spread the word. It is not necessary कि training से करे कोई. I act as a POSH certified trainer with the corporate clients where we give trainings to the employees. I am also an IC member, that is the external committee member. So I'm telling you, this is another revenue opportunity for lawyers because lawyers are always preferred members of the IC committee. Like me being a lawyer, I'm being appointed and I'm handsomely paid for that on a monthly basis. Just you have to attend the trainings, give the trainings, as well as you have to draft the policies. You have to help them when there is an investigation. So this is another opportunity being a lawyer where you can earn a good income. Apart from being into a litigation corporate, kahin bhi raho, you can always be a part of an IC committee. So I have an appeal to all of you. Like when I started with this POSH trainings, very few people knew about these regulations which are implemented by UGC. Now all of you know it. So just today's task, what you can do, you can visit your college website, find out what is the anti-sexual harassment policy of your college, go around the college premises, find out where is the board has been displayed. कि अगर sexual harassment मेरे साथ हुआ तो whom I have to approach. कौन सी IC कमिटी है तुम्हारे कॉलेज में? Find that out, know about it, and when you go home, talk about it with your parents, with your all those persons who are visiting you. Spread the word because awareness नहीं है इसके लिए sexual harassment हुई भी तो people are not talking about it. And as I can see, pardon me for this, but when I have shown that video, many of you, including men sitting here, must have feel embarrassed. अरे ये क्या language है? But in order to create awareness, you need to enter into that field. उसमें उतरना ही पड़ता है, सुनना ही पड़ता है। लाइक अभी आप सारे लोग सीरीज वगैरह देखते हो, मिर्जापुर भी देखते हो, आई नो what language is used therein and what is this. That's the reality of life. So when you are becoming a law student, don't be afraid to speak out. First thing, don't be afraid to stand out for others also. अगर आपके कोई फ्रेंड ने आके मुझे बताया, आपको बताया कि नहीं मेरे साथ ऐसा हुआ है, and she is unable to speak out, be her voice. That you can always do. And शर्मनाक वाली कोई बात नहीं होती इसमें. Law protects your confidentiality, because confidentiality breach हुई तो 5,000 rupees का फाइन भी है लॉ के अंडर. So you can always take help of these laws. Unless and until you talk about it, there will be no prevention about it. अगर एक ने आवाज उठाई तो सारे लोग आवाज उठाएंगे. We have seen the revolution has started like this only, and most of the revolutionaries belong to the law background. So that's why in this induction session only, this session has been organized for you, that you should be aware of your rights. And last thing, जब तक खुद के साथ नहीं होता ना, no one feels the brunt. So please make sure that it doesn't happen with anyone whom you know. You do not indulge into all these kinds of activities. Life बर्बाद हो जाती है पूरी. Please take care of all these things, and you are entering into a legal professional. So again, you are having more responsibility towards society. Being a law student, and once you become a lawyer, वो तो आपका profession ही है, law and order maintain करना. So I am done with this. If apart from all these things, if you have any questions, I am open. And again, I would like to answer your question. No one is above the law. ऐसी बात नहीं है कि चीजें पब्लिक में नहीं आती मतलब चल नहीं रही है. अभी वो केजरीवाल वहां पे बैठा है, he is doing so many things. You can hear his news again and again because media is covering it. But there are so many incidences which are not covered by media and we are not aware about it. So what you see is not always right, and what you don't hear, it doesn't mean that it is not happening. Everything is on track. No one is above law. Even if the Supreme Court Chief Justice does this kind of activities, he is bound by law, and action will be taken, and it is being taken. So being a law student, never think like this कि कुछ होता नहीं है. अगर खुद ही ऐसे करोगे तो कमाओगे क्या? अगर क्लाइंट आएगा, क्लाइंट को कहोगे नहीं कुछ नहीं होने वाला, वो चला जाएगा. Why he will pay you? So never have this kind of attitude. You have all the rights, just you need to fight for it. So do you have any questions?
Why is it not being properly implemented?
Because no one is taking initiatives to constitute the committees. That is the first thing. Committees ho to be in India, in Indian society, we are so much afraid of talking about these things. अगर बोलोगे नहीं तो पता कैसे चलेगा कि सेक्सुअल हरासमेंट हुई है नहीं हुई है. अगर होता भी है तो इन्फ्लुएंस की वजह से द वुमन इज ऑलवेज सप्रेस्ड कि नहीं एक्सपोजर होगा, फिर मेरा क्या होगा, मेरे कैरेक्टर का क्या होगा, जो भी बोलती है वो तो बदनामी हो जाती है. Due to this societal mentality, such kind of laws are not being implemented. Like law against triple talaq, the women were facing it for so many ages, but जब आवाज उठाई किसी ने तो तब law बना है. So these are the things which depends upon the societal mentality. Law and society always interact. Law is made for the society, and society contributes into the making and implementation of law. But such type of laws are not being implemented only due to these kinds of obstructive societal mentalities. Now you talked about sexual harassment. Under POCSO, there is a death penalty. कि अगर penetrative sexual assault हुआ, which is not a rape, penetrative sexual assault हुआ, तो there is a death penalty. Now you have seen 3 महीने की बच्ची से लेके सभी women face the rape and all those things जहाँ पॉक्सो लगता है, कितनी डेथ पेनल्टीज मिली. एंड सेकंड थिंग, पेरेंट्स खुद होके कहते हैं नहीं जाना, पुलिस कंप्लेंट नहीं करनी. लॉ होके क्या करोगे? If there is no complaint, why police will interfere? That's the problem with the basic implementation part. And awareness, पता ही नहीं होता लोगों को लॉ है करके. Anything else?
74% cases of rape are fake. When why is the always faced by men in the rape? But I'm not punishment men भी होती जाती है.
Unfortunately, sexual harassment against men not considered by the Indian society as a crime. Again, societal mentality, patriarchy, male dominance. Why there is a concept of character assassination of women only? Why women can't go topless on streets और men घूम सकते हैं? Answer me. Why there will be problem? अभी उसने वीडियो में क्या कहा? Now I will be very blunt. Everyone has it. It's a natural thing, right? Then why this difference? Law भी वही करेगा ना फिर. Law will try to protect them only. अभी constitution में देखो, there is a separate provision for women and children. Why there is no separate provision for men? आज भी if a woman wants to go out for a work, even she is a prime minister, she has to take a consent of husband. She cannot take her own decision कि आज मुझे यहाँ job मिला है मैं जा रही हूँ चलो मेरे साथ. Now I'll ask the men sitting here, how many of you will you allow? Be very honest and true. अगर आपकी वाइफ कहती है कि मुझे यहाँ पे जॉब मिला है चलो मेरे साथ शिफ्ट हो जाओ, दिस इज द थिंग. आपने अपनी बहनों के साथ भी देखा होगा ये. इट्स वेरी कॉमन सेइंग कि लड़की को गुड़िया ही दी जाते हैं और लड़की को बैटी दी जाती है. बचपन से ही यही सिखाया जाता है. Why boy cannot work in a kitchen? ये यही सारी चीजें एंड में ये लाती है. And it will take ages to change this mentality. You have the responsibility. अभी मैंने honestly पूछा तो honestly आपको आंसर नहीं देना है. You don't have that daring. यहाँ से बाहर जाने के बाद बहुत चर्चा करोगे, मैम ने ये बताया वो बताया, बहुत बोर भी किया बीच में, लेकिन उसके आगे कुछ नहीं. You will close down your thoughts. Don't do such things. Try to implement it, then only law will be implemented. And I am telling you, there is a movement which is going on, which is talking about the rights of men. Because matrimonial matters में बहुत ज़्यादा ये होता है कि the misuse is done by women and the man has to face it. Again, rape against men. There is a law in Western countries, even Islamic countries has the law, but unfortunately it is not recognized in India. Because patriarchal mentality, male dominance theory, we can't help it.
Even in Islamic countries, you've got 10 parameters for rape and sexual assault, but in India, it's not visible. You put Sharia as a large, Sharia law in India, it's not going to be possible because it's an overpopulated society over here. But if those laws are applied in India, I can assure you within 5 minutes, all the ends of this country will stop. And we are like,
Yes. He's saying something. Please listen to him.
जैसे इसने बोला कि सर यार कानून लागू एक्टिव, बट अगर फेक रेप केस हुआ, आपने तो उसको चढ़ा दिया सूली पे, वो क्या है कि तुम लटक गया, पहले बंदा तो कर लो, सच है निकल.
इसीलिए listen. Now you are new to law, so I will tell you, no one is hanged unless and until there is a due process which is very long tiring, which is followed, like we have seen in case of Kasab also. Everyone in India, even a child, knew that he had a gun and he killed many people. We saw it on TV, but still it took 3 years to hang him, right? We had a blunt evidence. So इसकी वजह से there is a long procedure, and as long as the applicability of Sharia is concerned, we cannot have the law which is theocratic. उसे कहते हैं theocracy, theocratic law, because our constitution is secular. It means that secular means not only Hinduism. Secular means giving equal treatment to each and every religion. So that's why in the personal areas like matrimonial kaho, child custody, divorce, there is a personal law which is maintained. But it doesn't mean that कि हिंदू ने मुस्लिम का मर्डर कर दिया तो हिंदू को अलग पनिशमेंट, मुस्लिम को अलग पनिशमेंट नहीं है. Punishment is same. Law is neutral. I won't call it secular when we talk about the crime against public. So IPC is common, CRPC is common, then civil law. अगर एक मुस्लिम मैन ने दूसरे की प्रॉपर्टी ले ली, शरिया नहीं आता, civil procedure code will come into picture. Contract law, general. So these are two totally different things. When we talking about crime, posh, POXO, law is very much neutral. It is doesn't talking about any kind of a religion. We should not think on those lines. What I want you to think that create awareness, speak about it, and again, if men want their right, fight for it. These three women, they fought. That's why we got the laws. Nirbhaya to she died unfortunately, but she gave a gift कि Juvenile Justice Act पूरा reform हुआ. That's why fighting is necessary. Anything else?
जैसा फिर आपने बोला पैसे कमाने वाली सोशल नो कॉर्पोरेट पुलिस आणि पोलीस स्टेशन मध्ये पैशांचा बाजार चालतो. मी स्वतः महाराष्ट्र महिला प्रेसिडेंट आहे. हे सगळा काळा बाजार बघितल्यामुळे म्हटलं आपल्याला इतिहास वगैरे घेतोच या मार्गावर.
असं नाहीये मॅम, हे तुमचा अनुभव असेल तसा, but I don't think so because I have practiced for 7 years, so I know in and out of practice also. I do take trainings of IPS, IS officers for these criminal laws, so I know many of them across India. So असं काही नसतं की पैशाचाच कारभार चालतो because of, मी सांगते ना तुमचा अनुभव असेल, मी सगळ्या गोष्टी करून आलेली आहे. So I know each and everything in and out. But implementation परत सांगते, पैसे तुम्ही का देता? तुम्ही नका देऊ, नाही म्हणा. When you will stop giving, मग याच्यावर सोल्युशन काय काढायचं तुम्ही सांगा. काय करायचं ते सांगते. नका देऊ पैसे, तुम्हाला राईट आहे, जा सुप्रीम कोर्टापर्यंत मांडा. मग ते सांगते, जा ना सुप्रीम कोर्टात. आपण नाही फाईट करत, वी गिव्ह अप. आपल्याला माहितीये 7-12-50 रुपयात पण मिळतो, पण आपल्याला 5 मिनिटात पाहिजे असतो म्हणून आपण 500 रुपये देतो. तुम्ही बंद करा ना देणं. दे विल स्टॉप टेकिंग इट.
नाही ते होणार नाहीये, लढाई मात्र कायम चालू आहे. थँक्यू.
As we draw curtains on this enriching and eventful induction program, I, Garj Agyasi from BLLB second year, stand before you filled with gratitude and a sense of accomplishment. It has been an absolute privilege to host this week-long orientation for our first-year law students. First and foremost, I would like to thank ma'am for such an informative session. We are pleased to have you here. I would like to extend my sincere thanks to our respected principal ma'am, vice principal ma'am, and Vidya Tere ma'am for their constant support and guidance. Their vision and leadership have been instrumental in shaping Bharati Vidyapith New Law College into the prestigious institution it is today. I would also like to express my heartfelt gratitude to Divya ma'am and Priyanka ma'am, class teachers of the first year, for their tireless effort in organizing this induction program. Your meticulous planning and attention to detail have made this week a memorable one for all of us. I apologize if my anchoring skills caused any boredom during the week. I assure it was unintentional. Your patience and enthusiasm throughout the week have made my job as an anchor a delightful experience. I must also acknowledge the invaluable support of a technical team who ensured the sessions were seamlessly live streamed on YouTube, reaching a wider audience. Last but not least, I would like to thank the Almighty for blessing us with this opportunity to come together and learn from each other. Thank you everyone for making this induction program a resounding success. I'm confident that the knowledge and experiences gained here will serve as a strong foundation for your legal journey. With that, I conclude my vote of thanks. Thank you once again. Guys, the session will start from 2:10.